Lords of Loud, The Summer Series.
And welcome back to another episode of the Lords of Loud. And tonight's episode is another one of our summer series episodes that we've been doing for the last few weeks over the summer period, in between our regular programming, which is going to return in a couple of weeks. And on tonight's episode, we are doing an Australian top 10. Well, it's going to be my Australian top 10, Lord Ben's top Australian songs of all time. For overseas listeners, in Australia we have a channel radio station called Triple J, and every Australia Day on the 26th of January each year they announce their Hot 100 list of the year, of the previous year. So it's a bit of a tradition, that program, but who needs that when you've got Lords of Loud, and in particular my top 10, which I'm sure will be controversial. And a bit of fun anyway. So let's kick it off with the first song, which is a track by one of Australia's greatest bands, In Excess. And this is off the Shabu Shabar album in 1982. The song is Don't Change. And this song was one of their first, I think it was their first single that actually did anything overseas. It got to number 18 on the Australian charts, and it cracked the Billboard Hot 100 as well. Not very far into the Hot 100, but it hit those charts as well. So, let's have a listen to Don't Change, In Excess, at number 10. Absolute classic is off there. And that track written by, credited to the whole of In Excess. I think we can assume that it was probably a Hutchins Farris song mostly. But the credit is to the whole band on that one. All right, great way to kick off. Let's go to number 9, written by a 16-year-old Roland S. Howard, and originally released by the band Boys Next Door, which is a sort of post-punk Australian band. I guess the most common version is the Birthday Parties version with Nick Cave on vocals. But just a great Australian song. And how do you write that as a 16-year-old? Who knows? So let's have a bit of a listen to Shivers at number 9.
I've been contemplating suicide, but it really doesn't suit my style. So I think I'll just act bored instead, and contain the blood I would have shed. She makes me feel so at ease, and my heart is really on its
been covered by all kinds of people over the years, including the Screaming Jets. And I think in recent years, actually, even Courtney Barnett did a cover of this as well. So I know Roland Howe, or Roland S. Howard, in many interviews would go on to say that he's sick of being asked about this song, and he'd much prefer people to be asking him about songs that he'd written in the last sort of 10 or 15 years. But what do? You write a classic straight up. It's you got to try and live up to that, don't you? All right, and at number 8, another one of my favourite Australian bands, and a band from a guy who, you know, really one of the great musicians of Australian rock music, played in all kinds of bands, including Daddy Cool, and then went on to form this band, Mondo Rock, a classic early 80s, late 70s, early 80s band. And this particular song, which I'm going to play at number 8, is just one of their best. Well, in my opinion, it is their best. So this is Cool World.
Your world is as cold as ice. Your world is so nice that you don't want me around. Your world is a barren place. That look upon your face says you don't want me around. I might break into your cool world, break into your cool world. I'll break into your cool world. In your world there are no regrets. Your goals have all been set. There are no more to be found. Your world is so well controlled. You will not be told. No, you don't hear a sound. It might break into your cool world, break into your cool world, break into your cool world. Somewhere way down, deep inside, passion versus pride, and walls are
So yeah, just a classic song there in Cool World. That's off the band's Chemistry album, 1981. I'm not sure how it did on the charts. That one, I think it did okay. I think it got to number 8 on the Australian charts from memory. But that's just it's just a song that I really particularly like. Love the melody of that one. And Ross Wilson, the writer, who also wrote classics for Daddy Cool and other projects over the years. Just a legend Australian musician. Yeah, so at number 7, we have an Australian prog rock band formed in sort of late 60s, 1969 actually, and really only lasting 3 or 4 years, I think, in their first phase. I know in recent times they've come back and sort of had a revival, but this song by them, absolute classic again, at number 7, this is I'll Be Gone.
Someday I'll have money. Money isn't easy come by. By the time it's come by, I'll be gone. I'll sing my song and I'll be gone. Someday I'll have loving. Loving isn't easy come by. By the time it's come by, I'll be gone. I'll sing my
Absolute classic, that one. And that one written by Mike Rudd, who actually is born in New Zealand but spent most of his musical career in Australia. And after moving to Melbourne, he actually joined the Party Machine, which was a band led by Ross Wilson before they formed Daddy Cool. So nice little connection there. All right. Now, I don't think it's controversial of me to say this really, but in my opinion, the next band is probably the greatest Australian band of all time, and that is the Easy Beats. They were the first Australian band to really have an international career. They left Australia in the 60s and went to England to sort of seek fame and fortune there, I guess, and had a couple of huge hits. And this particular song that I've got in here at number 6 on my list is not one of their big hits, but certainly what I think is one of their obviously their best song. That's why it's on the list. So this is I'll Make You Happy by the Easy Beats at number 6. Great song. That riff, what a killer. And written by Vander and Young, who were in the band, and George Young was also the brother of Malcolm and Angus Young from AC/DC. So, talented family there. Okay, so moving on, we're halfway there. Moving on to number 5. Now, this might be a controversial one for some people, but one of my favourite Australian songs ever written. And by Peter Allen, and no, it's not Rio. This one, written about it's an autobiographical song, really, of his, written about him and his father and his grandfather's life. It's a nice one to listen to the lyrics to, and just a lovely melody. Great song, and this is at number 5, Tenterfield Saddler.
The late George Woolnough worked on High Street and lived on Manors. 52 years he sat on his veranda and made his saddles. And if you had questions about sheep or flowers or doves, you just ask the saddler. He lived without sin. They're building a library for him. Time is a traveler, Tenterfield saddler, turn your head. Right again, jackaroo, think I see kangaroo up ahead. The son of George Woolnough went off and got married and had a war baby. But something was wrong, and it's easier to drink than go crazy. And if there were questions about why the end was so sad, well, George had no answers about why a son ever has need of a gun. Time is a traveler, Tenderfield saddler, turning head. Right again, jackaroo, think I see kangaroo up ahead.
Yeah, just a lovely tune there from Peter Allen at number 5. So that was written in 1970 and released in 1972 off his second album, that one. All right, so we're getting towards the pointy end of this thing. And next one at number 4 is an Australian band, and actually a band from Newcastle, my old hometown. This is a Novocastrian band and extremely talented frontman and songwriter, musician in Daniel Johns of Silverchair. This is one of my favourite Australian bands of all time, if not my favourite, even though I've just told you that the Easy Beats are the best Australian band. These guys are probably my favourite. So this is Silverchair with a classic off their Diorama album, and this is Tuna in the Brine.
Paint, sing and lie, seeing the colors, but you seem closer to everything. Paint, sing and lie, seeing the colors, but you seem closer to everything. Paint, sing and lie, seeing the colors, but you seem closer to everything. Closer now than we ever have been. We're closer now than we ever should. We'll be closer now than we've ever been before. Closer to everything. Asking for change and changing everything. Fables on changing everything. It's no time to shine like a jewel in the brine. From our purple chords on changing
Fantastic song by extremely talented writer Daniel Johns from Silverchair. That one released in 2002 and one of my favourites. All right, we're into the top 3. And at number 3, a band that even has the word Australia in their name. This is Australian Crawl with a little ditty called Reckless.
Early morning rain.
great song there and great lyrics. Really love the lyrics on that one. That's written by James Rain, who, of course, is the lead singer of that band and went on to have a very successful solo career as well in the sort of later 80s. But that one was off the Semantics EP, released in 1983, and some accounts have that Reckless as actually reaching number one as a single, but I'm not sure it was actually even officially released as a single. So, anyway, great song either way, and that was my number 3. Number 2, now this one could be controversial, folks. This one is a song that I'm sure everybody is absolutely sick to death of hearing. And as sometimes happens when you get a song that is so popular and so successful so quickly, seems to come from nowhere. People often get a bit jaded by it after a while, but I had to put this at number 2 on my list because it's just such an incredible song. Despite the success, it's actually musically just an incredible song. We've got Somebody I Used to Know by Goiche, and the work that Kimbra does on this track is incredible. The backing vocals and the duet she does with him on this. Incredible song. Sorry it was so successful. It should have been an alternate, hidden song, but somehow cracked it into the mainstream and just went ballistic. So here is number 2. It's Somebody I Used to Know. Somebody I Used to Know. What a great song. And that one, released in 2011, actually topped the Triple J Hottest 100 in that year. And won all kinds of things too. Won ARIA Awards. It won and a couple of Grammys as well. So, yep, great song. Okay, and the moment you've all been waiting for, the number 1 slot goes to an Australian band which would be relatively unknown outside of Australia and probably not even that well known in Australia, frankly. This particular song is off their 2001 album, Wires, which actually, I think, from memory, won Album of the Year, ARIA Award that year, or the year after. And this song is just such a beautiful song, sung by Ollie Brown, the lead singer of the band, and beautiful lyrics, beautiful melody, one of the prettiest songs I've ever heard. And this is a Cooler by Art of Fighting at number 1.
'Cause we were a kind of fractured parade with all the noise and the fray, but no definite way. You once said that I was something to keep, that I was a mess that looked clean. Now I'm not it's all wrong, so you won't have to stay that long with what we had. How could you miss? Yeah, what you need is none of this. Yeah, it's alright, 'cause it's all wrong, so you won't have to stay that long with what we had. How could you miss? Yeah, what you need is none of this. And without a daytime to live, and with the infrequence you give, I'm like noise in the street. Broke apart because there was no place to start with you. But it's alright, 'cause it's all wrong, so you won't have to stay that long with what we had. How could you miss? Yeah, what you need is none of it. Yeah, it's alright, 'cause it's all wrong, so you won't have to stay that long with what we had. How could you miss? Yeah, what you need is none of this. It's alright, 'cause it's all wrong, so you won't have to stay that long. It's alright, it's alright, what you need is none of
And so there you have it. That's Lord Ben's top 10 Australian songs of all time. Ask me again next year, and I'm sure it'll be a completely different list. But that's what I was feeling this year. So I hope you enjoyed those. What I'd love you to do, and I'm sure it's caused all kinds of controversy, I'm sure the battle will be raging for years to come, please go onto our Facebook page or Instagram and leave us a message. Tell us what you think of the top 10 Australian songs of all time. Or for that matter, tell us what your country's top 10 songs are. We'd love to hear from you, and we'd love you to get on there anyway and check out our social media on Facebook and Instagram and leave us a comment, leave us a message, get on your favourite podcast app, leave a review. We'll be back in a couple of weeks with our regular programming. But either way, we'll wrap it up for today. Thank you very much for listening, and see you next time on the Lords of Loud.
Lords of Loud, The Summer Series.